Welcome to Just Beachy with Deb
and Wendy.
Growing up in the 70s in our Toronto Beach neighborhood was a time unlike any other. Bell-bottom pants, high handlebars and banana seats, water buffalo sandals, crazy adventures, and home with the streetlights. We have lots of stories to share.
So sit back and join us as we reminisce about the people and the times that shaped our lives.
Hello.
We
here.
are back.
It's been a while since we had a podcast.
Yes, because we did our quiz a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to apologize. I don't have a sing-in song tonight or an intro song.
It's February.
That's right. That's our excuse tonight. If anything goes wrong with this podcast, it's February.
Yeah. Only a few more days left, and then it's March.
I know.
And only a few weeks left, and then it's spring.
Yay. In 2 weeks, we lose an hour of sleep. But we gain daylight.
We gain daylight. It's worth it.
Yes, I think so.
Everybody's got the white flag going. Surrender.
And the past couple weeks, or even 3 weeks, with the cold and the snow and and then today it's like spring.
I think this was the old January thaw. Remember in January we'd get a thaw?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Graham's cat boots would go back out again. We knew that it was a thing. And now we have it in the February thaw.
Yeah. But, in March break, which is coming up in a few weeks or a couple weeks, I guess even, people planned Florida vacations to get away from the snow. But I don't know if we're going to have snow that far out, or if it does fall, it may not stick around.
I don't know. We're supposed to be getting back into the deep freeze next week. So
are we?
We'll see. Yeah. It was like 8 degrees yesterday, though. And I've got the window in the kitchen open.
I know. I turned down the heat to 19 in here today and opened up all the windows and just kind of let the fresh air in. Yeah. And then when I saw my Archie, my Chihuahua, his teeth kind of chattering, I thought, okay, maybe I should warm things up again.
Get a coat for that dog.
He will not wear clothes. I think I've mentioned this before. When we got him, we thought, oh, it's going to be so cute. We're going to dress him up in little hoodies, little shirts. And as soon as you put anything on him, he becomes a statue. He will not move. It's like torture dressing up this dog. He doesn't even wear a collar because he just hates it.
But if you're going to do a calendar of him dressing up, him being a statue is a good thing. You wouldn't have to run around the apartment trying to get his picture. That's actually kind of good.
I never thought of that, actually.
Yeah, you go. You do.
You go on TikTok and there's some people like, oh my God, like they have a whole closet of clothes for their little chihuahuas, right? And it's so adorable, but I guess he's a guy and he doesn't want to get dressed up and, Yeah, you
can't force him, I guess.
He's a funny boy.
I've been watching a lot of videos of farm critters that I want to adopt, like baby cows, little tiny miniature cows.
Or the goats. The little goats.
And they get dressed up. They got little booties and they got little diapers on. House goats. House goats.
If you hear the clinking of any ice tonight, it's because I am having a little drink.
I'm having tea.
I think it's called Aperol. It's an Italian aperitif, so I should have had it before dinner, but it's lovely to have right now.
Remember the days we used to have Dubonnet and we were styling.
Have what?
Dubonnet.
Oh, Dubonnet.
Dubonnet. It came in white and it was a musky tasting thing.
Yeah. And Matisse.
Matisse.
That you'd stick the candle in after. It was kind of obligatory.
It's true. And we used to get all creative and drip all kinds of different colored candles on it. Yeah. Everybody would hurry to finish the bottle.
Remember when you were into the candle making?
I do. With the egg beater whipping up the wax to make it look like snow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And you would rip up little pieces of foil and strategically place it in the wax. Mm-hmm. I mean, you did that for a long time too.
I did. I love making candles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
We had so many around the house.
We did.
Melting the crayons.
Melting
in the pot. You had a dedicated pot to melt the wax.
That's right.
And then you had crayons and
our little brother used to get so mad at me because I took his crayons. You don't want that one. It's broken.
I'm taking it anyways.
Wendy, peel the paper off. Let's go.
Sorry. Yeah. That just jolted a memory in my brain. I totally forgot how you used to do that.
Yeah. I do before, I guess when we were in Newmarket, but I never got back into it. But now I make healing balm with beeswax. So it's the same kind of thing. You got to melt the wax and put in the
But remember the stone people you made too?
With Grampy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of those around Grammy's house.
They were everywhere. They were littering the whole house because Grampy got into it too. He had the basement with all those wild drawers and things, little springs and doodads, and because he never threw anything out.
No.
And
you would just basically glue the rocks together. You'd paint on really cool faces, and you had used pipe cleaners.
Yeah,
for the arms and that, right?
The arms. Yeah, Grampy manned the epoxy glue. He didn't think that it was safe for me. I was in my teens, though. I probably could have handled it, but
I think so.
Strong smelling. He was like my roadie. He got everything prepared, and I drew it on like the faces and stuff. But he would suggest things like, "Oh, this would look good. Well, maybe you'll have to hold a wrench. I got a little wrench. Just a minute, I'll go find it."
Yeah, and all you had to do was give him a suggestion, and then he was on it, right?
Oh yeah. No, he was into it as much as I was, and would display them, and he'd show people when people would visit, show them my collection, and he had a hand in all of them. So yeah, it was.
That's funny. Yeah, sorry, that just like I said, brought up this memory out of
and
it leads to other stuff.
And then I get into Fimo, to polymer clay, and making little people and stuff. That was still when we were on Scarborough Road. Because I remember sitting in the backyard at the table with the umbrella and getting totally burned on my back. And our neighbor came out, Chris and Gaucher, and she said, Deb, you might want to, turn around and face the other way for a while. She said, you're starting to glow. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, you've always been very crafty and very artistic.
I'm very crafty. And
musical. You can write songs.
Hey, that's me. But yeah, I enjoy all that stuff. Even wrote a song recently for Crystal Sue to sing.
That's right. You have to perform this one night.
one night, yeah.
Or you have a recording of it. Just tag it on.
Took me about 89 takes to get it right. I'm still not happy with it. But,
sounds like me on TikTok when I'm doing a video.
Well, you're creative too. Like you were doing the dramatic arts and always singing and
trying to play the guitar. I can play the guitar very basically, basically just strumming, nothing exciting. And I guess I was into. I also used to knit and crochet.
I was going to say, you did the knitting thing with Mom.
Yeah, I got kind of into that. And it's funny, last year, I thought, I'm going to crochet my sister-in-law a blanket because she wasn't doing very well. And I thought, I'm going to give her a special gift. So I ordered the yarn off Amazon, paid way too much money. I always do this. It's kind of like, I'm going to do it right now. And it's like, I need it right now. Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
And so I started it, and then I'd go back to it and then think, maybe I should do it tonight. And then weeks go on, months go on, a year went on, and it still only had 10 rows on it. So we have a thing here in Guelph called the Guelph 24 auction. So you put it up, you post a picture, you posted a starting bid, and they have 24 hours. And if someone comes in that time, whoever has the highest bid wins it.
Oh.
And so I should have put up for higher, but sometimes what you think is worth is not what someone's going to pay. Right. And I've just been moving it around in my closet for the past year, and they were big balls of yarn. So
yeah.
So the lady came today and was very appreciative, and she got a really good deal. But
well,
I don't have to think about it anymore and feel guilty that I'm not crocheting this blanket.
That's right. It's like
the intention was good, right?
It was a good thing, but it can wag a finger at you. I'm over here. Hello.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing I just didn't, the wool was too, the yarn was too bulky. It was a blanket yarn, so very soft but I don't know. I just couldn't get into it.
My
I
career
tried.
in doing things, I think I made one Afghan once, and it took everything I had and all the rows were uneven, and there was not my thing, not my thing at all.
That was like Quizmaster Amy teaching her how to knit. Oh my God. She, would cast on like 10 stitches for her to practice, and somehow she'd get up to like 22. It's just like
She really takes after me. I'm sorry. I think there was a switch at birth. I think we're very similar in a lot of ways, I noticed.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
So I don't think she practices anymore.
Probably not. But she bakes like a bad thing. She
Yeah.
bakery.
That's her forte. She can bake and she can cook, because not everyone can do both.
No.
I can personally, but either you have a knack for one or the other, but yeah.
I don't. That's one thing I don't do. I can bake rudimentary things like muffins from a mix, and I can embellish on it, but no, I don't know the last.
I think I spent a lot of time with Mom and Grammy in the kitchen too, because
I did too. Didn't rub off on me.
Either you got the gene or you don't.
I was waiting to eat it. I didn't get that gene. No. I got the eating gene.
Well, you used to make a pretty mean spinach salad, if I recall, in your teens.
I think Judy taught me that one.
What was it? Mushroom, spinach, Italian dressing, and was it like brick cheese or Munster cheese?
It was red wine vinegar.
Oh.
And you had to make bacon bits. And, it was just, raw spinach, mozzarella cheese.
Oh, it was mozzarella. Okay. I thought it was a little more special cheese.
No, it just tasted special because of the red wine vinegar. Yeah. Used to make that by the truckload. It was so good for us too. Yeah. Bacon bits.
Maybe that's what I need to get back to.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to make green salad for dinner, and I kept pulling out all the spinach as my friend. I will have you. I don't know what you are, but I'll eat the spinach. What do they put? It looked like dandelion greens and beet greens, and I'm thinking, I don't know that I'm this kind of herbivore, but I'll give it a go. It's like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel because it's February.
Well, and we have to remember too, with my baking, I started young with my easy bake oven.
That's true. You got groomed. You were trained to be a baker from an early age. As your little boyfriend came over and you cook for him. I mean, talk about the model of June Cleaver. It's like,
I wonder if I had an apron.
Oh God, yeah,
I probably did.
You did. I remember you did.
I had everything girly, right? I mean, I had the little pots and pan sets. I had the tea sets. And
I come in and I'm in my cowgirl suit with my gun and holster.
If you had your way, we would have had a pony in the backyard.
Oh, I wanted one. Dad kept saying, "Yeah, when you pass your next test, yeah, when you graduate to grade 8, we'll think about it."
Though, because we touched on March break a little bit, we never did anything, did we?
No.
I don't think Mom had the financial means, and I think we just had the week off. Like, that's how we always looked at it.
We probably went to Graham's.
Yeah. You guys go to your grandparents for the week.
Yeah. I don't remember we didn't do anything special. We weren't camp kids. We didn't go off, And
maybe it was more in high school years that is when you knew like people were doing stuff for March break, not so much in elementary.
There might be more cause to maybe go downtown or maybe see a movie or something when you get older. But yeah. No, it was never a thing that we went off to Florida or anything like that. No.
Although I think one year I did with my friend Jenny's parents.
You did, and you broke your toe.
Yes. Yeah, stubbed it, I think, in my room. And that trip was funny too, because I went with my friend Jenny, my best friend, and her brother David and her parents. And I think he was able to bring a friend too, and I can't think of his name. But we did the Walt Disney World, and we stayed in this motel, and every day, because we thought we could do it for free, we would call this line to get the weather update.
Oh, no.
And then I can remember when we're leaving the hotel, Mr. and Mrs. White were livid, saying, "Who made these phone calls?" Because it got tacked onto their bill.
Oh, God.
And it nearly like broke them for what they had left for the trip.
Oh, dear.
And we didn't know.
No.
Like, we just thought we were getting the time and the weather.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah, it wasn't a very pleasant trip back. It's like, I felt so bad. It's just like, I'm so sorry.
But here, girls, here's your peanuts for lunch.
Yeah. But even back then, I can remember, because I knew I broke my toe, that we went to an emergency room and we didn't stay long, because like, just to see a doctor back then in, say, 1976, I guess maybe, was going to be like a $200 fee, like back then.
Right.
So it was just like, yeah, I'll just wait till I go home. Not that you can do anything for a broken toe anyways, right?
Yeah.
But
put a popsicle stick on it.
yeah.
Split it.
Man, but I can remember that's when I could wear a two-piece bathing suit back then. And Jenny and I lying on the beach, and we got so burnt that even the little where you do up your bathing suit at the back, in that little hole of the connector, we had sunburn in that little space. And I can remember we went to the restaurant that night, and the waitress looks at Jenny and I, and she goes, "Oh, you poor dears." So she suggested, and I think we did, was to have a cool bath in vinegar with vinegar. Oh. And the vinegar takes the sting out. So I think we did, because we were pretty desperate after that day on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
What do we know? We're Canadians, right?
We don't get this kind of
baby oil.
I remember Evie and I would do baby oil. We'd go sunbathing or something down, or we'd go for a hike and we'd oil up, and we'd be in the sun. And I remember once I got a rash, like a heat rash from the oil, because my skin couldn't breathe.
Oh my God! Yeah,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I can smell it now, right?
Baby oil, what, burning flesh or baby oil?
A little bit of both.
Turn over, you're done.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sure that many people listening have sunburn stories, especially if you're fair-haired. Yeah. I mean, some of our friends
really think about it back then, though, right? I mean,
some of our darker-haired friends, like Judy, she never burned, or if she burned, it turned into a glorious tan the next day. I mean, what's up with that?
Well, we used to get nice color, though. We may have burned initially, but then we would get nice tans. I had a friend, though, that would sit out all day with me, and we'd go back in at the end of the day, and once our eyes adjusted to the inside, I'd be going, "Ooh, look at me," and she'd be going, "I'm the same color."
Didn't work.
Didn't work. No. Mm-hmm. I can remember one summer using sun in on my hair.
Hair, yeah.
And it really made it go blonde. And I was blonde naturally back then, but when my roots came in, it almost looked like I had black hair because I had gone so blonde.
Yeah, that's when you get into touch-ups. Yeah. we were both pretty blonde back then.
Yeah. That's funny. Man.
And we would sit out and put lemon juice in our hair.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had the baby oil, salt water, too, to splash on us on top of the baby oil, because we had to attract the sun even more.
It's Canada. We'd be out sunning in March. I mean,
I tell you, today was so beautiful out, and the after all these snowbanks that we've had out in front of our apartment building, that my poor dogs have been having an issue trying to find a spot.
Yeah.
We have green again. Like, it's crazy how much it's melted in the past 2 days.
Yeah, it's same here, except now it's ice. So that's probably not good.
No, yeah, you have to be careful for sure.
Mm-hmm. But the icicles next door have gone. Now it's just kind of a, frozen treat.
Well, I was in Toronto on Saturday with Amy, and we're driving up Victoria Park from Lawrence, heading up to Shepherd. And there's all these little, I guess they're apartment, I think you rent them, but they're like little townhouses just before you get to York Mills.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Ellesmere at that point? I think it's Ellesmere on that side of Victoria Park when you get up there.
Yep.
But the icicles, they were like 6 feet long. And they were the type that you couldn't break off because either you'd kill yourself or you take the east trough off with them.
Oh, my.
Like I couldn't believe how big these things were.
That's a heating problem.
You think so? Well, that's what I was saying to Amy. How long have these houses been here?
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in Guelph now over 20 years, and we lived in the Don Mills, York Mills area. Oh, geez. The first 20 years of my married life. And yeah. And how long have they been there before then? Right? Like,
yeah, they need a bit of insulation.
I think so.
Yeah. Like the house next door, it had major icicles, but nothing like that.
Oh, it was nuts. Like, I wish I had taken pictures, but I was driving, so
that's a good thing. Good for you. That's a very restrained thing to do. Yeah. Well, we're up to 21 minutes. We actually were going to be talking about something completely different, and we.
Sorry, I got on the tangent. So,
but it's February, so.
And we were talking earlier about what we wanted to talk about was actually not about the 70s or, because we don't always have to, but it's just, this is just a very stressful world right now.
Yeah.
And, you can't turn on the news without something you don't want to hear or something you don't want to see. And, it just gets to you, like your mental health, like Stu Jeffrey on Boom 97.3 today, like he always, just before 8:00, always has a nice little chat and, talking about your mental health. And it's so true. Like, how do you not let it get to you?
Yeah. That's hard. It's hard. It's like being bombarded right now. And things that you wouldn't even imagine are happening.
Yeah.
Not so much in Canada, but in the States. I mean, like I'm old enough to remember, like, part of the 70s being at Ryerson, the whole movement of feminism and women's power and Gloria Steinem and just that push, which was on the shoulders of the suffragettes and all the people that, had gone before them. And then getting to Trinity, and the big debate was inclusive language. And, kind of saying, yeah, well, we've got to consider that we're not all men. That's an old term, but I have boobs, so I'm not. So, just making people aware. And then, over the subsequent decades, the strides that were made, equality and equal pay and women breaking into fields that were considered verboten, not that long before. And now it's all like the carpet is rolled up. And I can't even imagine how the trailblazers are feeling right now. It's got to be very depressing. Jane Fonda at the SAG Awards was just brilliant. I mean, I remember doing the workout that she did back when I was pregnant.
Oh yeah,
and she was a mover and shaker back then for women, and just advocating, really living on the edge in so many ways, and taking a lot of flack. But she says
it's just all so disheartening. Right.
Her message was, don't give up hope. And to the people in that room who represent the entertainment industry, right? Whose, vocation is to be storytellers and to keep the story going. We can't lose heart. We can't lose faith.
No, we can't. And so what do you do so you don't lose heart? So, I was talking with Deb earlier, like I need to start doing something, and it's not crocheting because that wasn't working for me. So I'd like to take up the guitar again. I mean, like I said, I'm not the greatest player, but I do have Deb's Olivia Newton-John songbook.
and Judy's got one of mine too. All my music books are distributed among people who used to sing with me.
And I do have Shania Twain's.
Oh.
And I have all the Great Big Sea. I have all their music. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how I got it, but I have it. And yeah, so I just need to take some time and just kind of do that. Over COVID, I actually bought a keyboard from Costco because I wanted to learn how to play the piano. I always did. And I loved the Anne of Green Gables theme song from the 1985 rendition with Megan Follows. And I could play it with one hand, but I've always been good playing piano with one hand.
One-handed piano player.
But when you have to get the other hand going, like, no, I just don't have it. So I actually ended up selling that keyboard after COVID. But guitar is something I can handle. So I want to get back into that. So, and I love singing, and it just kind of takes you away, and and it's better than, well, I do love my Price is Right and Let's Make a Deal, as I've also mentioned, because it's just an escape. It's seeing people's joy and getting away from the news that just brings you down.
Well, we need to be reminded that things have been bad in other times and in other places, and people survived, and we will too. And when I'm upset, I buy a ukulele. So I've been really upset.
And it is February, right? So things happen in February that
February.
The February blues.
Well, it's a hard month, and it's traditionally people like to hibernate and not be around as much, and I find that it's true with Facebook. Like, people just aren't around as much to talk to them.
No, and during COVID too, with my husband's family, we used to do bi-weekly Zoom meetings, like get-togethers, right? Just because we probably saw each other more during COVID than we did before and even after. Yeah. But you need that connection, and I find sometimes I just spend my time in my apartment and doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that, I think a lot of people feel that way. They're just alone. And sometimes they're lonely, but sometimes they want to be alone. But sometimes it's important to, you can get stuck. And there are friends that you can call, and people. Now we can go out again, right? We can go to bars. We can watch movies.
Well, and I love to walk, except it hasn't been the greatest walking weather either, right? So that has a lot to do with how you feel, and how it affects your mental health too. Mm-hmm. So I buy stuff off Amazon. That makes me happy too.
Retail therapy.
Although apparently February 28th.
I was going to say, we've got a whole bunch of boycotting coming up, and I think it's really important because the orange one is serious. He's not to be messed with. So and the buying power. I mean, even friends are down in Florida right now, and there are a lot of for sale signs of Canadian snowbird places, and there are Airbnb down there, or whatever the rental is. They're down 30% from Canadians not going this year. It's really too bad that all this is taking place in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's longer than that, a month. It hasn't been long.
No.
It hasn't been long. So we can't lose hope. We've got to keep each other buoyed up. And, the power of a smile can really lift somebody.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think I mentioned as well, like, I only have, what's today, the 25th? I have 3 more days of posting Anne of Green Gable quotes on TikTok.
Ooh, good.
So I've done every day. I did a repeat, but that's okay. No one's going to notice. So I get a few likes on them, but I get lots of views. But I'm doing it more for me because I love Anne of Green Gables. I want to live in Anne's land one day. Or close to it, maybe Moncton, I'm not sure.
New Brunswick, yeah.
It's only an hour and a half away. But yeah, so I was doing it more just for me, and hoping I, struck a chord with a few people out there that are seeing it. Because I'm not sure how many people actually know about Lucy Maud Montgomery either, right? So, promoting her a little bit in there.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, you do what makes you happy. Spring's coming. People like to garden. Just do what feeds your soul. Yeah. I've been watching from the very beginning, the whole Xena series. I'm into season 2 now. I'm loving it. That was so creative. They did 24 shows this season.
Wow.
And each one was absolutely great. They're very few clunkers. And now I'm getting into the season that I like the best with the musical that they did. I'll probably watch that several times.
Yeah. So so for those listening, and if you're part of our Facebook group, which we're up to 56 members, by the way, thank you so much. What do you do to take your mind off the world, basically?
And that's a good discussion. We can continue this in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Just Beach with Deb and Wendy.
Is there a movie that you go to that kind of, takes your mind off of things? Like I can watch While You're Sleeping any time of year with Sandra Bullock. It doesn't have to be Christmas. Yeah. What do you like to do to escape and just kind of forget about things for a little while besides going to sleep?
Sleeping's not bad though. We can all use more sleep.
Yes, that's so true.
Reset. Well, we should probably say goodbye.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to whatever this was.
This was great. Thanks, Deb. This was a lot of fun. And we hope everyone enjoys listening. And we'll be back again next week.
We will.
Have a good one.
Bye.